Hey Dave, here's your private video for Schroeder's Callibaetis. I tied a couple and I figured out that the 285 size 18 is a good size of hook for this model. I got 8/0 thread, tan. I don't think it matters too much what color thread you use. You're going to finish with a dark ostrich, so black even would be okay. What I'm going to do is get some mallard fibers, appropriate amount for the tail, and they're going to be uneven, so I'm going to reach up and just kind of break off some of the brittle stuff until they're closer to even. I'm going to set it up so that the tail length is about the same as the abdomen length. And go ahead and tie it in the front half because it'll save you a little bit of time. If you reach right up here and get your copper wire and set it in so that the tip of the copper wire is right there at the front. Now you can kind of stroke all of that back, bind it in together, and I'm not going to go any farther back than maybe halfway between the point and the barb. That stays a little far forward on this hook. It leaves a lot of hook out there to tie a trailer on. Less problems on the fish when you take it out. It's also, it just doesn't look right if you get too much of the curve into this particular fly. So, I got those two things set up. I'm going to get a little bit of dubbing, any kind of hare's ear, Callibaetis superfine. I've always tied it with something a little shaggier, so I use a hare's ear blend that's still got some guard hairs in it. And dub it very thin. I keep them fairly slender. And I'm leaving quite a bit of bare hook up front for the legs and for the ostrich. When I rib this one, I keep the ribs actually fairly close, so even for such a short shank, I'm going to get 8 or 9 of these. Now, these will go in the way a little bit, so I'm going to trim the longer whiskers there. Go back to the mallard flank. And now I'm going to separate out enough so that I've got decent density legs on each side, and it's going to vary from feather to feather. In this one I might go ahead and pluck them even before I even strip them off. And gather them up in a bundle. Now I'm going to move my thread up almost to the eye. I want to tie this as far forward as I can. Lay that in until the legs are about the length of the abdomen. Now, by tying it in forward in a bundle up on top, I've got some room as my thread goes from front to back to manipulate the legs. Let's see if the camera catches this. I'm going to get my thumbnail right on top and separate it and push it down to the middle. And then when I've got it down to the middle, I need to stroke it back and hold it with my other hand. So now as my thread wraps go back, the legs stay on the side, and when the thread gets to that lump on the abdomen, it'll push the legs out to the side. Now they don't have to be terribly neat. They'll set pretty good. And now I'm going to go for some ostrich, and you can tie this in whatever way you're comfortable. I find it easier to tie them in by the tip. I'm going to make wraps forward to the eye, but I left the thread in the back, so I'm going to wrap right back over itself. And as I get to the legs, it'll bundle them up and sweep them back just a little bit more. Now catch it with the thread, couple of modest turns, then tighten up until you get to the front. If you wet your fingers, you can stroke that back out of the way and get a nice tight head. And there's my Schroeder's Callibaetis.